So an interesting thing happened when I was really young. I've never seen my dad, I think, ever run my entire life. And my dad was dragging me and my brother around. We were still really young, hadn't had any success yet, maybe 1 or 2 years into elk hunting. And we bumped some elk, and the elk took off running. And my dad goes, "We need to chase them." And so we're like, okay. Like, me and my brother didn't know. When you're young, you don't know any better as a new hunter. So we're watching what dad does, so we know what to do. And my dad literally takes off sprinting across the woods, full speed, as fast as he can, chasing after the elk. So me and my brother look at each other and we're like, okay. So we start taking off running after these elk. And crazily enough, it worked. We actually ran up, and by the time dad stopped, we all stopped. They must have thought we were elk running too, because all of a sudden we stop and there they all are out in front of us, right within bow range, just grazing on the ground. And that was the actual first elk that me and my brother ever shot. The cool part about the idea of chasing after the elk is it taught me that sometimes trying something that maybe nobody else is doing can turn into a huge win for you. And in that particular instance, us chasing those elk, most people, when you see elk run, you're like, oh, it's over, and you throw in the towel and head back to your truck. Sometimes chasing after might create an opportunity. But even more so, what I found, because that worked that first time, every elk I spooked for the next 5 years, I chased. And I got 0 opportunities from it. But what I did get is they always say elk use 10% of the woods. So that means 90% of the woods, there are no elk, 10% are where the elk are at. Those elk led me on a chase through the woods where I found what 10% they were using. So sometimes chasing elk actually shows you where the elk are at, shows you better ambush points, shows you the areas they like to use. You find hidden bedding grounds you didn't know about. There is a plethora of knowledge that has been gained, or that I've gained over the years from chasing elk.